operation. These people have no jobs. You see, one other thing is that democracy and poverty and illiteracy don't mix. The system we run is sophisticated for our level of education, for instance. And you find that because our level of education, these are the people who don't even know, who cannot discern, the candidates, or, their policies and all that. They're the ones in majority. And they're the ones that will bring about the president. Look at the people that voted. This is an illiterate population. The illiterate population are few. So we need a system that will allow us, first of all, before we run this liberal democracy as we pretend to run now, is only used to sustain a developed economy and a more educated, enlightened people. With 47%, 45% literacy level in Nigeria, this thing is too sophisticated. And we need to declare an emergency education so that at least when we have achieved 80, 85% literacy level, then we'll be able to introduce this kind of system. That's my point. For as long as the people are still, poor, illiterate, and all that, we continue to find this, and it's going to get worse.
It appears the drawing board is getting fuller and fuller. but let's try to look at other issues right now. It's been a long journey, honestly, not just to these elections, for Nigeria's democracy. So let's try to look at this drawing board. He mentioned issues of making politics less lucrative. You talked about education, trying to, get a system that works for us, custom-made system. Now, do you see any other solutions, for this drawing board that we're building here?
Yeah, I think the suggestion he has made on paper, it appears sound. But I think in practice it can't work in Nigeria because there are like two sides to a coin. Now, I agree that, of course, it's because the whole business of politics.
All right, hold your thought for a moment. We understand because we have so many correspondents spread all over these states where this voting exercise is ongoing. We have our correspondent, Larry Lasisi, who's been monitoring the proceedings in Yola, the Adamawa State capital. Larry, tell us what we must know now.
Oh, well, it's been a very long day. We are in Yola right now, but we just arrived after about 2 hours journey from the hinterlands. The elections here took place in 2 local governments, precisely. In Hong local government, where there was a supplementary election in 3 polling units to kind of round up the election for one of the House of Assembly seats. And that was concluded fairly early and the results announced. But the second election has to do with, is not actually a supplementary election, and that took place in Mayo Belwa local government area. That had to do with an election that was suspended following the death of one of the candidates in that elections. The candidate passed on Wednesday before the election, and the election had to be suspended. So that election took place today, and we were at the Collation Center, watched the whole process, the proceedings, till the result was announced, and we just came back into town. I can tell you that that election went fairly smoothly. There were no issues, no voter card, what do you call it, no card issues, not the what do you call them, the ad hoc staff of INEC arrived early. Elections went without any drama whatsoever, and the collation the process took place. Interestingly, we had people waiting there till 12, making sure they had the results, and when they had the results before they left. So that's how it's gone down here today, Coyote.
All right, so if you can tell us, how soon do we expect to hear the final results from these elections that you have said have taken place?
Okay, just as I explained, these elections are for state houses of assembly. The first one in Hong, the result has been announced. It had to do with just 3 polling units, and the rest of the results had already been collated. So once these were done, they were added. It was announced earlier in the day. The one that was, I can say, had a larger field, which had like a whole constituency for state assembly seat, which, just as I explained, was suspended, was the one that took more time, because it was like doing the elections afresh. And the elections were concluded today. Result has been announced. And so for Adamawa right now, we can say all that has to be done has been done for those elections. But you do know that we have the state elections, the supplementary for the governorship seats still pending. That has not been touched in this round of elections because of the court case that is pending. So when that happens, it will then be clear whether we're having a supplementary election or we will be having a fresh election for the governorship seat here in Adamawa State.
All right, thank you very much, Larry Lasisi, reporting for Channels TV from Yola. He had to travel hours to get back to Yola from those places in Adamawa State, far-flung places where he had been monitoring the election so far. And you can see he's still there live for Channels Television. Thank you very much, Larry Lasisi. Let's bring you up to speed with how the elections have been collated so far in all of the 5 states. In Bauchi, 15 local government areas, but no collation has happened so far, no results yet. In Benue, 22 local government areas. We understand that 16 results from 16 local government areas have been collated, and there's 6 outstanding. But as we speak, the Benue State collation has been adjourned till 10 a.m. Later this morning, and we'll keep tabs on that to bring you fresh perspectives as they unfold. In Sokoto State, there are also 22 local government areas. So far, 16 local government areas have been, results from 16 local governments have been collated, and there is a balance of 6 more local government areas. In Plateau State, 9 local governments, they're taking a 2-hour break right now, and we'll join them back in Plateau State once collation of results continues. So far, results from 8 local government areas have been announced, and we have a balance of 1 local government area where we're waiting for the results to be collated, after which the results will be announced. And then in Kano, there are 28 local government areas. 26 local government areas have had results from there released, and we're waiting for 2. But let me ask you, Mr. Awoniga, you're a lawyer. We see that there's an issue with the governorship election in Adamawa State. Can you help us make sense of the litigation process there, especially given the fact that a party which was not exactly part of the process went to court, complaining about how the process went down, and then it appears that that's what's holding that election, because the INEC had to respect the court order.
Well, I won't be able to say much on that, because as a lawyer, when matters are in court, professionally we are not allowed to comment on them. They say the matter is a sub judice. But all I can say at this point is that with the trend I've seen with the INEC, there is always a tendency to, first of all, just like the military, they say obey first and then complain. I've seen that in the attitude of INEC.
Is it a wrong attitude?
No, it's not. Perfectly in order. Because you can't choose which orders to obey. That's the way we're taught as lawyers. Even if an order is patently wrong, your duty is first and foremost to obey it. Then you take steps to vacate the order. And that's exactly what INEC has done in most of these. There are so many orders here and there. Instantly they will obey, but you hear instantly from their legal department that they are taking steps to vacate the other. Because at times when you look at it, the orders, they are patently wrong. But it does not lie in your mouth to say that, oh, a judge who, of course, as a given an order, gave a wrongful order. The steps you can do is to go to higher quarters to try to vacate such orders. And if you follow the trend, that's exactly what INEC has been doing in all the states in which there have been some orders. Like, okay, for instance, somewhere where they said that Tafa Balewa, this and that. Even PDP went as far as going to petition the NJC. Because there are different steps based on the advice of the lawyers. Some lawyers can say, oh, no, that one is true. We don't need to do that. This thing we feel it is patently wrong. Let's petition the NJC. If the NJC feels that the matter, of course, is something within the ambit, they will treat it, or they could tell you, oh, this matter is in court. Let them exhaust the judicial process. But if it's so patently illegal, such that they feel that it brings a scorn, shame, odium, and ridicule to the judiciary, the judge is summarily, I mean, I'm sure you know how it goes. The judge is given a query. They expect a response. If they're not satisfied, of course, disciplinary actions, it can be a warning, it can be a caution, it can be a recommendation for retirement or for dismissal. So in this particular case, like I said, I'm unable to comment on the status of litigation because professionally we're not allowed to do that. We say the matter is sub judice, it's before the court. But all I can say is that you can see INEC always complies with these orders, which is the right thing to do because they have their legal advisors. You comply first, then you go through steps to vacate it, either by saying that, oh, set aside this. If the court refuses, you can go and appeal, or if you feel is the other route you want to report, oh, this judge, I think from the provisions of the Electoral Act, no court is allowed to do this. At that point in time, you can decide to skip going to the Court of Appeal, or then you can decide to go to the NJC. So that's the trend so far. If you follow the INEC, they have always complied, but almost instantly they take steps to vacate the order based on the advice from their legal department. Because like I said, we are taught you can't choose which orders to obey. Oh, this one is bad, this one is good. Who determines that? It's the higher court that determines at the end of the day whether the order given was lawfully given or not. Sorry, just like, let me digress. Just like if you look at Osun State now, when the tribunal gave their verdict, it was a split decision, 2-4, 1 against. If you look at it, they all had different reasons to justify their decisions. And until that thing gets to the apex court, before we can have a benchmark in which to have a standard about rerun elections. Because so far so good, it's just been like trial luck this year, this year, this year. But with the first case that gets the attention of the court will now be able to see, you'll now be able to find out whether it was a majority decision there that was sound, or whether it was a minority decision that was sound. But for now, you understand, we are still groping, but at least a decision has to be taken. Yeah. Like they always say, history will forgive you for making the wrong decision, but not for idling by. That's right. And not doing anything.
All right, thank you very much. We're still monitoring results from the supplementary elections. We'll take a short break right now. We'll be back in just a moment. Join us again.